Recently, I posted a video showing you guys how to play the Scandinavian Defense. I'll leave a card up here if you want to check this video out. But today, I'm going to teach you how to beat the Scandinavian Defense. I play the Scandinavian Defense myself, but when someone plays the Scandinavian against me, that's how I usually play, and that's how I usually beat the Scandinavian Defense. But before we go on to the video, please, I'd like to ask you guys to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more, because I'm posting videos every day. Now, the Scandinavian Defense begins when you play e4 and your opponent plays d5. This is the first position, the starting position of the Scandi. And here, I'm going to surprise my opponent. Instead of taking the pawn, like most people do, I'm going to play d4, starting a position of what we call an invitation to the Blackmar-Diemer Gambit. So my opponent can also play here this move and start a French defense. It's a transposition, or this move and also transpose to a Caro-Kann. But most people are going to take this pawn, and this is exactly what I want them to do. If they want to play the French, okay, no problem for me. If they want to play the Caro-Kann, no problem at all as well. But what I actually want them to do is to take this pawn so I can play knight c3 attacking the pawn, forcing them to defend. And most of them are going to play, most of the opponents are going to play knight f6, trying to defend the pawn. And here comes the shot, guys, f3. I'm going to play this move, and I'm going to offer another pawn for my opponent. And when they grab it, I have two options. I can go for the Blackmar-Diemer Gambit, taking the pawn with the knight, or I can go for the Ryder Gambit, which is a more spicy and gambit-y line against this position here, in this position here. So if you want to go for something, both lines are gambits, so they're all very attacking and risky. But if you want to go for something a bit more safe, you can take the pawn with the knight. And in this case, your opponent's probably going to continue developing. You're going to keep developing as well. You can kick the bishop away, trade the bishop for the knight. It's already good for you because you have the bishop pair. You take back with the queen. You can keep developing. You can develop your two bishops, castle, king side, and bring your pieces to the attack. You can bring the other rook to the game here. After your opponent castles, you can bring your other rook to the game. You have all your pieces very active and attacking in this position. If your opponent doesn't go for the capture here, instead of capturing your knight, playing something else, you can keep developing your pieces the same fashion, castle, king side, bring your other rook to the game as well. It's a very easy to develop game, very easy to play. But of course, when your opponent goes here and takes, you can also go for something a bit more aggressive, even more aggressive, by taking the pawn with the queen. And this is what is actually doing is removing the defender of this pawn, inviting your opponent to take it with the queen. And when they do that, we have some very fancy traps that we can go for here. And if your opponent's not aware and they play this move, they play bishop here, for example, bishop to g4, thinking they are attacking your queen because it's supported by the knight. What's actually happening is that they're overlooking that this pawn is hanging, so you can go ahead and take it, right? So in this case here, you're just going to take the pawn on b7, and then after knight b to d7, you have many options here. You can continue developing, you can kick this bishop away, you can go here trying to, fork your opponent. So there are many options for you in this position as well. So here, instead of playing bishop to g4, which is a very risky move and it's a slight mistake, most opponents are going to actually take the pawn with the queen. And here we're going to immediately follow with bishop to e3, attacking the queen. And the queen cannot retreat within this file here, because wherever they go in this file, we're just going to play rook to d1 and harass this queen even more. So, and we develop with tempo, right? So more often than not, they're going to play queen to g4, offering a trade of queens. We're not going to take this trade. We're just going to move the queen away, queen to f2. And after, let's say, knight to c6, we play h3, kicking the queen away. After they move, let's say, to b4, we just castle long. We have all our pieces active here. After, let's say, e6, knight f3, we have all our pieces playing. All our pieces are very active here. We can move this bishop and develop it. We can bring it here as well, and then bring the rook to the game. This is a very active position for white. We can always bring the king here and push this pawn, kick this queen away one more time. And this is a great position. We are improving our position with tempo, taking advantage of over this misplaced queen, and it's a great game for us. Of course, your opponent can also go for other moves like queen to b4 right away. In this case, we're just going to castle here, preparing a little trap, knowing that this rook is cutting this file completely and cutting these two squares from the king. We're gonna try and checkmate the queen, the king here in just 2 moves. And opponent here might go for this move here, thinking that they're again attacking the queen supported by the knight there. And here we're just going to ignore that completely and play knight to b5, pretending that we're just hanging the queen, a la Eric Rosen style, oh no, my queen. And if your opponent goes for that and takes the queen, we're just going to deliver checkmate here. Knight takes c7 is checkmate because the rook here is removing these 2 escape squares, and the knight delivers the checkmate. It's just winning for us. Of course, if your opponent is aware of that, they're not going to take the queen over here. They're going to play something else. And in that case, you can keep playing normally. It's just a great game for you as well. Okay, so that's how I play against the Scandinavian Defense. I usually go for this move right here, d4, inviting my opponent into some transpositions. If they go for the French, I play the French. If they go for the carrow, I play the carrow. And if they take the pawn here, I play knight to c3 and offer another pawn for my opponent, and then get into some spicy lines of the Ryder Gambit or the Blackmar-Diemer Gambit, which is going to get your opponent off guard for sure. They're not going to be ready for these lines. So if you like this video, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel for more. And as always, I see you guys in the next one.